Welcome, I'm Vi, I'm e-commerce marketing expert at Omnisend, and today we're talking about PR and where to start when you don't know where to start. Or maybe you have tried in the past, or maybe you think that PR is not for your business. It's all good. We're here to talk about it today and what to do. And I'm very excited about today's guest because when it comes to PR, trust me, Daria is the person. And I'm very excited for everyone to have an opportunity to ask her questions as well. And I encourage you to do it throughout the presentation. And we will have a Q&A tab. We'll have some time at the end to answer any other questions. So very exciting. Daria, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Super excited to be here.
Fantastic. And before we begin, a couple of things to know. This session is being recorded. You will receive the recording in a couple of days in your inbox. We will include the slides as well, so you can go back to them at any point, check any steps you might have missed or wanted to double check. Also, at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A tab. So drop your questions in there for Daria, and then we will either stop to answer those or we will wait till the end and answer those then. We also have our customer support team in the chat. And if you have any other general questions, you can drop those there and they'll be happy to answer. So Daria, this stage is yours.
So, hi, everyone. As Vi said, my name is Daria, and I'm PR team lead here at Omnisend. Today I will talk about PR in very, very simple terms. So don't be afraid. It will not be super difficult. And I will actually try to persuade you that anyone can do PR, and it's not something that's super difficult to do. So today we will talk about what is PR, what are some common PR myths. Then we'll also talk about why do you need PR and why it's important to know what's your goal with PR. Then we will go step by step on how to start doing public relations at your e-commerce brand, at your company. So you will see step by step how we did it actually at Omnisend. and actually that could be done with any company. Then we'll go through some examples. And then, of course, we will have a bonus with some AI prompts that you can use. Of course, everybody wants to use ChatGPT and AI to help them do their things quicker. So I will share some of the prompts I use in my work and my team uses. And then we will have a Q&A. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions that you have throughout the presentation. I will answer them in the end. Okay. So what is PR? So PR is the practice of managing and shaping public perception. So of course, it can be very broad, because social media shapes how you see the brand, then reviews online shape the brand, then of course marketing things. But today we will talk about very, very small portion of what is generally considered PR. So we will only talk about media. So media in the sense of traditional media. So news outlets, TV, radio, podcasts. So things that are more traditional sense of PR. This is what I'm working on every day. So if you've ever opened a article online and seen Omnisend mentioned there, most probably it's my work. So this is just a presentation of it, as you see here in the pictures. So very traditional sense. So there are some myths about this kind of PR. So the first one is that it's super expensive, of course. People think that if somebody gets a mention on New York Times, on Bloomberg, on Forbes, that it must really, really cost a lot. And yes, there are paid opportunities on those websites, and they really do cost a lot. I think one mention on New York Times is $50K, if not more. But there are ways to get there for free. And that's what I will be talking about today, because when Omnisend is mentioned on CNBC and Bloomberg, we never pay for it. So yeah, it's not always has to be expensive. Another myth is that when people find out that most of those mentions in media are for free, they think, okay, this is a free way to sell my product, so no marketing needed. Which is also a wrong way to view PR, because if your message that you are sending to a journalist, to a reporter, is super promotional and it's like pushing to sell a product, this will never be included. So rather, PR is a way to bring more awareness to your brand, and this most probably will only come if you share some educational content or something that is less promotional, So if the main goal of PR is to sell a product, then PR is not the best channel to send things, because it is, in the start of the funnel. So most probably the PR will help you sell a product because a person would have heard about your product before. So when they come to see your ad or your email, they will think, okay, I've heard of this company because of PR. Another myth is that it's all about relationships. So many people think that if I don't know anyone at Bloomberg, if I don't know anyone at Forbes, at Daily Mail, at any, big outlet, then I have no way to get there, which is not true. Because if you have good content, then you can get to all of those publications without any relationships, because reporters are, of course, they're interested in getting the best content regardless of who they get it from. And other way around, it works too. If you have like a best friend working at, Daily Mail, and you send them like shitty content, and you say them, okay, push it to editor. If it's like purely promotional and nothing educational, nothing interesting for their readers, you can be like a bestie with an editor. They will not publish it. So it's also important that content is king in PR as well. Another thing is people believe that it's all about press releases. So unless you have some company news, you cannot do PR, which is false, because unless you're Amazon, Google, or Facebook, you don't have company news every single day or even every single week. So, if you're not Fortune 500 company, you can still do PR. And probably it will not be around your company news, but there are many, many kinds of content that you can push as PR without it being a press release. And last myth is I cannot do PR without a PR agency. So of course, PR agencies, they cost a lot. Like I know in US, like on average, it's like $25,000 a month. But you can do PR without an agency. And from my own experience, when I came to Omnisend, for 1 year, we had no agency at all, and we've been getting coverage without it. And we only hired it because, as you know, a lot of people from Omnisend are based in Lithuania, and I'm based too. So, of course, I needed someone from US to help me with the time zone. So that's the only reason why we hired agency in US, not because we were not able to get coverage. So if I can do it, you can do it as well, Okay, so before starting to do any kind of public relations activity, you should ask yourself, why do you need it? Because I can be unpopular here, but I don't think that every company needs PR, because PR, it takes a lot of time. And it really, if you can get somewhere, sell products more quickly, then you don't need maybe PR. So there are some questions that you should ask yourself. And the first one is why. So there are some reasons, like I thought of 4 main ones why you should really, really consider PR. So the first one is that you really need more brand awareness for your brand. So you notice that people, they see your ads, but they don't react to them as good just because they have never heard of your brand. And it's a real thing that people would more comfortably buy something from the brand that they know. So if you think that you need more brand awareness, PR can help you for sure. Another thing is that you have brand awareness, but you want to maintain your reputation. You don't want anyone to dictate what is being seen about you or what is written. You want to be the person who says, what's the reputation out there. So PR can help you to keep that positive perception, and keep the reputation high. Another reason, which is now very popular with people caring about SEO, is digital PR, which the main goal of digital PR is getting backlinks. So in those cases, you really need to think of not only content that you produce, not only pitches that you write, but about landing pages for your reports or like some kind of blog post, etc., so that reporters have somewhere to backlink when they write an article based on your pitch. So this can be a very effective way to get backlinks for sure. And the last one, and like the newest one, is that people want to be recognized by ChatGPT and other LLMs. So here, I think PR at this moment is the most effective thing. So when you get coverage online, for sure, you will get more noticed by LLMs such as ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity, etc. Because of course, what they do, they gather all the data online and then they give the best answer. So the more your company is mentioned, the bigger the chance that those platforms will mention you when people will ask questions. So if on any of those questions you said, yes, I want this, then stick with me. I will explain how to do some of those things. Okay, so how to get started? The first thing is you have to choose someone at your company who will represent you, who will represent the company, right? So some kind of thought leader or an expert who can talk to journalists, who can give quotes, who can be on calls, give interviews, if it's radio, if it's TV. If you are a founder, that's a perfect face of the company. If the founder doesn't want to be a face of a company, it can be someone else who can be an expert. But for sure, this person should be good at public speaking. And another thing this person should be good at is be an expert of the product that you're selling or industry that you're selling. So, for example, if you're a fashion brand, this person should be able to comment on trends or explain why certain clothes are good with another clothes, etc. So they can prepare, of course, for interviews, but it is better when this person can be just know the subject. So once you find someone who can talk in the name of your brand, you should go to first opportunities. I'm not the person who will tell you you should have a huge plan, etc. No, just try things, and that's the best way to move forward. The first opportunities can be found. The easiest way is there are platforms where journalists, they just leave their requests. I left here the names of some of those platforms. So it's Quoted, Featured, Help a B2B Reporter, or Haro. So all of those platforms, the Quoted is the best one in my opinion. It's the most easiest one to use. The user experience is the best. So there we will just see a bunch of requests from reporters, and then you can find the best one that you can answer. For example, here I found one from Daily Express, and it says gardening expert needed, how to avoid black spot on roses. So it can easily be a flower shop who answers this request and gets some kind of mention. And then another is workplace technology expert needed for opinion on AI accelerating remote work. So here, a office supplier can answer this question, or someone who sells office furniture. So you can find a bunch of those requests. You just open the request and then you see a lot of questions. So of course, with all of those requests, the quicker you answer the questions, the better. It's not only the best answer, but the quickest one. Reporters are quite busy people. They want things to go very quickly, but you can get to quite good outlets like this pretty quickly. once you start with this thing, you can actually start to think about topics. So as I mentioned, we are not Amazon's, Google's. We are not like some huge companies who have news every day. So we need to think more creatively about what kind of topics we can send to journalists. So of course, when thinking of those topics, think of what things your clients would be interested in, or what kind of things are happening in the industry so that journalists are interested in writing them. So I will give you some kind of brainstorming techniques and then some suggestions of what kind of content you can actually send to journalists and try to pitch. So the first way to brainstorm is mind mapping. So what you can do is you can just take a piece of paper. I'm a piece of paper kind of person. You can use Miro board or whatever. So, and you put on this piece of paper your name of your company, and then put all of the things that like associate with your company. So here we got a word culture, and then all of the words that are associated with it, like art, music, dance, religion, etc. And then you can go even forward and then pick like a word like art, and then think of what kind of words associate with this word. So then art, I would say painting, museum, gallery, and then those words can also be used as a topic. So let's say Omnisend, what is associated with Omnisend? E-commerce, email marketing, business. Then what's associated with email marketing? Results, SMS marketing, dashboards, and etc. So I can already think that I can write a press release about different kind of results or like ROIs, etc. How to get the best ROI, what are the tips and tricks for e-commerce experts, etc. Or I can think of, I don't know, open rates of emails, etc. So that way you can start thinking of some topics that could be of interest, and you can pitch to reporters. Then another thing is stealing. So just do a competitor analysis and see what your competitors are already doing. There is a huge chance that they are already doing PR and they are ahead of you. So you can just steal and just see what they're doing and what's been working for them, and think of what you can do better. Do what they did, but do it better. Another thing is newsjacking. Newsjacking is one of the quickest way, but also a bit difficult to do because you have to be super on time. So newsjacking is reacting to the news that are happening at this moment. So when something is happening, you just send your comment to a journalist regarding this event and hope that maybe they will include your quote. So for example, you are a sports brand and Olympics are happening. So you want to tell reporters what kind of, I don't know, what kind of sportswear will be trending for people who will be attending Olympics, or why the runners are wearing some kind of shorts, or any kind of expertise that you think that journalists will be talking about at this moment that are connected to your industry. So of course, for e-commerce brands, such as Omnisend now, the biggest thing is tariffs. So we comment a lot about tariffs and how they can affect e-commerce brands, etc. So that, but every time something big is happening in this theme, we try to talk to journalists and give our opinion in hope that we will be able to get some coverage from this. Another way is story mining. So just talk to your customers, talk to your clients. What are they interested in? What kind of questions they are asking? And this can be your sign of, oh, okay, this is something interesting. That's what we should be writing about. That's how Omnisend's press releases about, for example, best times to send an email come about, or what's the best subject line, etc. So this is something that you are asking our clients. So we know that the industry is interested. So we try to create content around that. And last but surely not least, my favorite part is internal data. If you have any kind of data that can show a trend to a journalist, please use it. For example, you are a makeup brand, and you see that some kind of blush is selling the best. So this is your time to tell journalists about it and say that this kind of, I don't know, peach blushes are trending this summer. And then maybe your expert can explain why this is happening. And then what's the rise, if you compare to last summer, what's the rise in sales. So your internal data can be actually a gold mine for different angles for journalists. Some of my suggestions, you can talk about trends in your category. You can talk about what's trending in your product category in particular. You can talk about some do's and don'ts, some tips and tricks. I don't know if you're a garden. If you're a shop that sells garden things, you can talk about what is the best way to arrange your garden, or to, I don't know, plant a rose, etc. All of those things, you can think that it's written everywhere, but actually journalists are constantly looking for more and more tips and tricks. And if something new comes up, of course, they will take this. Then also think about something seasonal. So for Christmas, for back to school, for summer, the content can be very different. As I said, you can analyze the shopping behavior of your clients and let journalists know about what you found out. And then you can also share your story if it's an interesting one. For example, we had a brand, we have them as a client, Rachel Riley, and they do baby clothes. So actually, their baby clothes are worn by a royal family in UK. So we did a case study where we actually told journalists this story, and they were very interested. And we got to Daily Mail and Express.co.uk just because we were telling an interesting story of a brand that sells clothes to royal family. And last suggestion that I have is use data. If you have any data, please use it. I'm not talking about clicks or open rates. But one company actually did very good PR with open rates, because they were doing a PR about how people trying to opt out of Father's and Mother's Day's emails. And they mentioned that their open rates really increased once they did that. So they allowed people to opt out. So in those cases, of course, use this data. But I'm talking more about what people are buying, what's the best product. Are there any trends that you can notice from the way people shop at your e-commerce brand? Okay, let's go to step 4. Step 3 was a long one, but it was the most important one. The content will be the most important thing. And then the second important thing would be to approach correct people. So you should really start building your media list. So what you should do is just think of where what your clients read. So it can be very general media, such as BBC or Guardian or CNBC, but it can also be very niche media. Like for fashion brands, it will be Vogue, or for us, it's Retail Dive or Morning Brew, some very, very niche outlets. So you should think of a list of possible media outlets, and then in those media outlets, you should find journalists that really cover your topic. So, for example, if you are a fashion brand, you shouldn't go to a Vogue editor who writes about makeup. So you really should find those journalists that write about your specific industry. And then just start writing their emails and building your list so that when you have content, you have someone to approach. Then you should build a PR calendar. So just think of, will there be any company announcements, any new products that you want to talk about with journalists? Then think of any seasonal topics, and not only think about like Christmas, back to school, or Black Friday. You can also think of, like, if you're a sports brand, think when is FIFA, when is Olympics, when is UEFA, like when are those big sport events that are happening? When is March Madness? Also think about like your market. I guess most of you are from US, but yeah, think of your market and what's the biggest events. So yeah, for fashion brands, of course, it's like fashion weeks or some, I don't know, big events where a lot of celebrities will be coming. So you will be able to tell about their looks, etc. So just prepare some kind of calendars so you are prepared. Then think of industry news, and you can also collect some data in advance. So you know that, okay, you want to cover this topic, but you don't have the data collected, so you can start the data collection in advance. So by the time you plan to release it, it's already there. And yeah, and then you can fill in the gaps with all the other content and ideas that you came up with during your brainstorm. And then you can start pitching. This is like the PR pyramid. That's how we call it. So this is actually used for press releases, but you can use it for pitches as well. So the main thing is that your headline or your subject line in your email to a journalist should be one sentence about the whole story. So it should be everything in one sentence. Then another thing that comes afterwards is everything in one paragraph. So, and then afterwards you give more context, some quotes, and only then you get really into details and more information. So you really, I think my main thing is that you should treat journalists as lazy, busy people who don't have any time. They don't care about your brand. So you should catch them from the first thing they see. So if it's a subject of your email, it should be something that's very catchy. If you're doing a press release, it should be a headline. And then if you're lucky, they will go to a first paragraph or they will open an email and they will be able to see a fuller story. So this first paragraph or this first sentence in your email should be also very on point, and try to tell the story very concisely and only stick to the main things in your first sentences. And then you can give all the context a bit later. Yeah, and then track the impact. There are free ways to see if you've been mentioned, if there is any coverage. So, of course, there are many paid tools, such as Mentions on Brand24, where you can pay, and then you will see what kind of social media coverage you get, what kind of coverage in the media. But there are some free things, such as Google Alerts, Talkwalk Alerts. This is a very PR tool. Then Bing. Sometimes Google Alerts doesn't catch something, so I go to Bing. And then there is Baidu. If anybody is interested in Chinese markets, you can also use Baidu to see if there is any coverage there. So yeah, my main thing that I want to say to you is don't overthink and don't overanalyze things when you start doing PR, because for most of the time you will be ignored, you will be left unseen, or nobody will even open your email. So you just have to be persistent and work and pitch and pitch and pitch. Sometimes the pitch is perfect, but you haven't pitched it to a proper journalist, so you have to work on it. Sometimes your journalist list is amazing, but the story is just not good enough. Sometimes everything is perfect, but everybody is on holiday. It's summer and nobody is opening their emails. So you just have to, day after day, do a work, find a topic, and one day you will have results. As I said, I've built PR here at Omnisend from zero. There was nothing. Now we have 1,000 mentions a quarter, and this is normal for us. So, I mean, if you are consistent, you will get the result that I promised you. Then in case you have more budget, this is for fancy folks. So, okay, you have money. First thing you do, you purchase a pitching platform. The best ones are Cision and Muckrack. If you want to save time, use those two. There are others, they are just not that good. If you are international brand, use Cision. Cision has good journalist databases for the whole world. Macrack is much better for like personal pitching, but they only have good journalist lists for English-speaking markets. So just think of it. Then use Mixmax. This is a integration on your Gmail that you can put, and then you see who opens your emails. That way you see if you're ignored completely or journalists at least open your pitch and then decide not to cover it. And then if you don't have internal data, but you still want to work with data, you can do surveys. And the cheapest way to hire respondents is Cint. I really, really recommend this company. I haven't found anyone who is easier and also cheaper to work with. And journalists actually take data from Cint. So it's a company that they trust, that they will have good respondents. And then you can program a survey yourself through SurveyMonkey. Of course, there are agencies who can do those all things for you, but I'm all for saving money. So yeah, but if you have things if you have money for surveys, I would recommend those two services. Yes, and now I have some examples for inspiration I try to find e-commerce brands like yours so that you see that it's all possible. But there are some examples that are not from e-commerce brands. So the first one is Boot Barn. Boot Barn is a shoe e-commerce store. So what they did is when Beyonce released her album, they noticed that the sales of cowboy boots that they had started to rise. So they decided to tell media about it. So they first wrote to Women's Wear Daily, but the New York Post got also interested in that. So they took data from Women's Wear Daily to talk about this new trend of cowboy boots, which came out after Beyonce's new album. Then this is not a e-commerce brand, but it's Etsy. So what Etsy did when Barbie, you remember those times when Barbie movie was coming out and everybody was crazy, Etsy decided to look into their searches, and they noticed that actually people are looking for more Barbie stuff on Etsy as well. So they decided to give this data to Good Morning America, which Good Morning America actually took. Actually, fun story from my experience. At that time, I worked at a cybersecurity company, and we had a list of most popular passwords that people use. And we started to notice that people started to use passwords like Barbie or Oppenheimer. So we were able to newsjack it as well. We were able to say how many, because of course we didn't see the passwords of people, but we saw the passwords which were leaked. We were tracking dark web. So there were a lot of more leaked passwords, such as Barbie or Oppenheimer. So we were able to tell this to journalists, and we got into Fox at that time, I remember. Then another brand, Steve Stone. So what they did, they saw there was a lot of discussions about this necklace from Hailey Bieber, of like this bee necklace. So they decided to tell how much it costs in their opinion. Like, this is not covered by any data. They just decided to estimate it, and journalists really appreciated that. And they got into Hello Magazine. Then another example is another company called Laundry Heap. They decided to give more tips for UK people because they have this problem with pollen season, and people who are allergic to pollen really feel bad. So Huffington Post was writing about it, and they just offered some tips and tricks, and they got the full feature about it. And then another company called Patch Plants, and I don't have the Telegraph subscription. That's why you're only seeing a headline and you cannot see where the brand is mentioned. I'm sorry. So anyways, this company, what they did, it was COVID times and everybody was buying some houseplants. So they looked into what their customers were buying, and they were able to tell the Telegraph what was their bestseller during COVID times. And that's how they told what UK people were most interested in buying from houseplant plants. And they got the Telegraph, which is, I think it's the hugest thing you can get in UK. Then some bragging time. So this is Omnisend. This is from 2 weeks ago. We got to CNBC. So we've been tracking the Trump merch sales on Amazon for some time now. And we were waiting for some kind of story to emerge. We wanted to use it as newsjacking, and this story came to us. So the story was that Trump started to sue those people who are producing merch of him with his face, because they were not paying him any kind of credits, of course. So we were able to say how much money those people were actually earning every month. And this data went to CNBC. Another company called Zolath, so they are doing their wedding planners. So every year they just survey. So this is for sure, this is an expensive thing. So all of those examples that I just showed you were for free, for sure. Zolath, they are serving 6,000 couples every year, and then they are able to say what are the wedding trends for the whole year coming. And then Axios takes this data every year, but actually they're so big now, not the brand, but like the report is so popular now that it's being taken by a lot of companies, a lot of news outlets. So yeah, that's it with examples. Now we'll tell you how to save your time. So the first thing is that you will have to give a lot of comments to journalists, especially with those quoted, featured, and other platforms that I showed you in the beginning. So what I would suggest you is to start adding, not only asking ChatGPT to generate your comment, but ask for a less comment or even contrary view. Because as you can imagine, everybody is going to ChatGPT. Everybody will be asking for a comment for their expert. So ask for something that it's less usual. The chances of you not saying what everybody is saying will be much greater. This is the prompt that I use for a quick email pitch. I just ask ChatGPT to personalize it to a journalist X, and ChatGPT is now good enough that they are up to date of what journalist is writing in the last 2 months. So they're able to personalize the pitch, and then I give the whole context of what I want to say. And I ask for a compelling subject line and hook. So of course it's never perfect. Usually I have to edit it, but it's a good start, a good way to start drafting a pitch. Another like more advanced way to do the same thing is I ask ChatGPT 5 Pro model. Last week I wrote 3.0, but now there is no like this. There is update on ChatGPT, so it's ChatGPT 5 Pro. And I ask, what makes a great journalist pitch about product news, survey, or research? I just ask the model to tell me what are the best tips and tricks. And then I ask to apply all of those best tips and tricks to write me a pitch. So usually that works very well. Then if you want to use ChatGPT to find yourself some reporters, you can enable deep research and then copy this prompt. I will not read it, but it just asks to create a list of journalists, 30 or 40, with their emails, etc. So if you not enable deep research, it will not be able to do that. But with deep research function, it actually is able to find your list of journalists. And for better structure, you can just use this prompt. This is a structure for a perfect pitch. So first, it's a synthesis of entire story angle, then some bullet points with main findings or main points that you want to say. If you have any data, please include it here. Then a quote and a CTA for a interview or more data. So actually you can use this prompt, and I'm sure any pitch you write will be a good one. So a quick summary of what we discussed today. So first, find a face of your company, find someone who represents it. Then don't wait long until you actually start looking for first opportunities. Use platforms like Quoted, Featured, Help a B2B Reporter, or Haro. Then sit down and actually brainstorm what you want to say, what are some of the first topics that you want to cover. Then start building your media list. Then you can actually put all the topics in the calendar. Don't be afraid to experiment and don't give up. Like, really, don't give up until you get something. And then track your progress. Don't forget to track your progress, because sometimes you will not get an answer from a journalist saying, I covered your news. You have to check for mentions every single day. That's it from me. Do you have questions?
Thank you so much. We actually have a question. I'll keep it for just a moment. What I love so much when you were talking and it was so structured, I think everyone should watch this webinar before their quarter starts and get thinking, because it's so easy to say, PR is not for me, we'll do it later, we'll get to it. What I'm gonna tell everyone, just watch this on 1.5 speed, just get in the mood. I'm sure there's something that happened in the past quarter and something that might happen in the upcoming quarter, and that's gonna be your golden opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And like again, follow these steps and then you'll get started and then just don't stop, don't give up, and you'll get better at this as well. I'm sure of that.
For sure.
So the question is, should we create a personal or business account to answer those journalist quotes?
Um, so you will have not the business account, you will have to create an account for your speaker. So you can have as many speakers as you want. So, for example, for Omnisend, for different topics, we have different speakers there, but generally you will have to create your speaker account. So if you are a person who will be answering those, you just create it for yourself. Yeah, not for your business, because it will still say like Daria, expert at Omnisend. So I have my own quoted account, which if I want to be mentioned.
Fantastic. Victoria, does that answer your question? Let us know in the chat. There are no other questions in the Q&A, but we do have one question that was submitted when people.
I see it.
So the question is, how valuable is connecting with influencers, and to what extent should I be the face of my brand, effectively becoming an influencer myself? What would be your take on that?
So I don't usually work with influencers, not because I don't believe in them, just because my position at Omnisend is working with media relations in particular. But I think influencer marketing is a very powerful tool to bring more awareness to your brand. We at Omnisend work with a lot of influencers, and my main recommendation is that don't go to the biggest ones because they are the costliest ones, but really go to the niche ones. And sometimes with those macro influencers, you can get even more sales. And another thing, answering your question about if you should become an influencer yourself, I think from PR perspective, if a founder, a CEO is a person who is representing company, it is the best case scenario. So but it also, if you should be the face of your company in social media, it also really depends on what kind of brand you have. Because of course, if you're a fashion brand and you can be, a stylish person on Instagram, for sure. I follow a girl who like is selling sportswear, and like her body looks amazing. But I mean, a lot of people follow her because of her fitness tips, but she's also has a brand of clothes. The same answer is for if you should be connecting to influencers. Think of your brand. Are there any influencers who are actually talking about it online? Is there any followers there? Are your clients looking for this information on social media? So yeah, there are some questions to answer, but generally I think yes, it's very, very valuable thing.
Awesome. Okay, Victoria says the answer was fine. And there's another question from Elma. So the
Yeah.
question is, could you comment on the role or importance of industry events and awards for your brand? Similarly, more than a brand, how about executive profiling?
Okay. Those are two different questions. So awards, It all depends on your brand. So if you think that in your industry awards mean something, then of course. For example, for our brand, we know that award mean a lot of things, and it's very valuable for us to have like on our website a badge that we've been awarded with like best email marketing company, etc. So think of your brand, and the best thing to understand that is actually to make a list of those awards and see like what kind of weight do they have. Do your clients actually care? So I know that for fashion brands, for makeup brands, etc., to get in those listicles of recommendations, etc., it's one of the best things they can do. So it's not necessarily an award, but if you are listed by Vogue or like Cosmopolitan, and you are reviewed by their reviewers, usually this is where your clients can actually find and buy your product, and actually you can rise your awareness there. And then with industry events, it's actually kind of the same. Ask yourself, is your target audience in those industry events? Do they go there, etc.? So I can only talk from my experience. For cybersecurity company that I worked for before, we never went to events because the product was too cheap, too consumer friendly, etc. So us going talking on stage didn't really make sense. But for Omnisend, about e-commerce with e-commerce brands makes much more sense, and our speakers go to events like that for sure. So it all depends on your brand. And then the other question was about executive profiling.
Yes.
Okay, so about events, what I wanted also to share, if the event is for free and you can get a speaking opportunity for free, why not do it? I also think of that way. Like you can try, because especially with speaking opportunities, I don't know about like booths, etc. But with speaking opportunities, they can, if especially if you're a founder or you are more known person, or if a brand is known more known, I think you can get free opportunities. Then why not try it? And with executive profiling, so I think it makes a lot of sense to use executives as experts and try to build the brand for them. We do this with Ritis a lot because he's a very good spokesperson, etc. So, and also another thing is that sometimes your executive can be more known than your brand yourself, especially in those niche communities. So, for example, e-commerce brands is a very niche community. So when Ritas goes and talks in events, our awareness can increase a lot. Same with podcasts. There are some very niche podcasts that are only listened to by e-commerce brands, and they really see Ritas as, a big ambassador of a brand and trust his opinion. So for us, it has been working. The only thing is that really evaluate if your execs are good public speakers, and if not, do a media training for them, because the worst case scenario is that they are not, and then you're doing yourself a disservice, by putting people in light which don't know how to, act there and like how to talk to journalists. So really do media trainings, yeah, and let them know that they cannot say all the company secrets, because there are people who are very transparent with journalists, and it's not always the best thing, because you can tell information that's good for a competitor, so etc. Did this answer your question?
Amazing. I agree with everything you said. I think it's, again, what you keep repeating as well, is just know where your customers are at. What do they read? What do they pay attention to? Because in my experience, when I used to consult brands regarding marketing, there used to be a lot of vanity thinking, I want to be there, I want to be on this magazine, I want to get this award. But I would challenge people asking them, is it really relevant to your actual customers or is it your personal aspiration? So when you were repeating these things, I'm like, I could not agree more. Like, this is so, so important.
Yes.
Amazing. Elma is saying yes.
Oh,
Thank
I'm so happy.
Fantastic. I'm looking at a time and there are no more questions, so we will wrap this up. Daria, thank you so much for being here today. Again, that was so structured, and I would encourage everyone before every quarter, watch this again, rethink where you're at, and just don't give up. Do not give up, keep on going.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me. It was very fun for me.
Fantastic.
And
Thank
you can
you.
always reach out to me for LinkedIn if you have any questions. I can answer some of those things. I don't know, you can send me a pitch and I will tell you how it can be better.
Watch your inbox, Daria.
Yeah, so you can you can add me on LinkedIn if you need it.
And you should absolutely do that. Take up Daria on this. And again, everyone, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.